The Middle East fight between religious Jews, Zionists, and Muslims. Chapter 1. The Jewish Zionist issue. King David and his son Solomon are considered Jewish kings. When Jordan Maxwell was alive, he said he talked to a rabbi who told him that King David and his son Solomon never existed. David slew Goliath and became King David of the Jews. King David had an innocent man killed, Uriah the Hittite, so he could sleep with his wife Bathsheba. They had a son Solomon who became king. In 1 Kings 3:9-12, Solomon asked God for wisdom, became the wisest man on planet Earth, and wrote the books of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Songs of Solomon, a love story. In 1 Kings 11:1-43, Solomon ultimately failed because of ego. He slept with a lot of non-Jewish women, allied with non-Jews, and explored life alone away from God. I read the book of Proverbs enough times to see the repetition. It's not the inspired word of God. Solomon, if in fact he was not a myth, was not a technically good writer. He was really down on alcohol. In the book of Proverbs, the word alcohol, specifically wine, is mentioned 232 times. The phrase fermented drink is referenced around 20 times. There's a 1997 British movie about King Solomon called Solomon. In the end, despite his wisdom, he fails because he gives in to greed and temptations of the flesh. It's a classic tale of power corrupting even the great Solomon, who squandered his wisdom, then wrote Ecclesiastes saying how depressed he was. As a punishment, God gave Solomon's son the lineage to only 2 tribes of Judea and scattered the other 10 tribes worldwide. Modern-day Zionism is not ancient religious Judaism. The Christian Zionists in America think that the creation of Israel in 1948 is the fulfillment of biblical prophecy as stated in Isaiah 11:11 and Jeremiah 16:14-15, but they neglect Revelation 3:9, which states, "I will make those who are of the synagogue of Satan, who claim to be Jews though they are not, but are liars, I will make them come and fall down at your feet and acknowledge that I have loved you." If you go on BitChute, Rumble, Rents and YouTube and type in the term Zionists, you'll come across articles and videos that talk about a group of people from an area where Ukraine is now that used to be called Khazar. This area converted to Judaism around 800 AD. These people are called Khazarian or Ashkenazi Jews. Back in the Middle Ages, their king decided that if he converted to Christianity or Muslim, he would always be fighting the other group between these two, so he became Jewish along with all his people. These Khazars moved to Europe, got into banking, creating the Rothschild Bank, which spread through Europe. The Balfour Doctrine was a declaration by Jews during World War I asking the British government to grant them a homeland in Palestine, which Britain then controlled. The story is if they could get the Americans into WWI, Lord Balfour of England promised he would help them create a new country in Palestine. The Germans sunk the Lusitania. Americans got into World War I. European Jews started to quietly go to Palestine in the 1920s, buying real estate and smuggling in weapons to prepare for the eventually invasion and takeover. Around 1933, a group calling themselves the World Congress of Jews started a worldwide boycott on German products. The European Jews kept flooding Palestine. In 1948, the United Nations granted Israel nation status. The United States recognized Israel as a nation 11 minutes later. They created the Nation of Israel with the 4th largest army in the world and a secret service called the Mossad. The best way to learn about the conflict is to go to a YouTube channel AJ Plus and find videos about how Israel was created. The conflict between religious Jews and secular Zionists. The idea of a Jewish homeland started with the World Congress of Jews in 1897. It's not based on the religion of Judaism. It's based on secular Jews who want their own country, using the Jewish religion and their persecution through history as a justification for getting a homeland where they feel safe, but where they fail morally is that they used violence and evil to get the Palestinians out of their homeland, starting in the 1920s when they quietly bought real estate and smuggled guns in. I've seen several documentaries on the creation of Israel. Al Jazeera Live and the YouTube channel AJ Plus are biased towards Arabs, but there are other documentaries that tell the same story. Jewish terrorists bombed the King David Hotel. The terrorist attack was carried out by the Zionist paramilitary group Irgun. 91 people of various nationalities, including Britons, Arabs, and Jews, were killed and 45 people were injured by the militant right-wing group. On the 25th of November, 1947, the United Nations created a partition plan for Palestine that proposed a creation of one Arab state and one Jewish state, with the Jewish leaders accepting it and Arab states rejecting it. On May 14, 1948, the last day of the British Mandate, David Ben-Gurion, executive head of the Zionist organization and chairman of the Jewish Agency for Palestine, issued the Israeli Declaration of Independence, which declared the establishment of a Jewish state in the land of Israel to be known as the State of Israel, which covered part of the territory of what had been Mandatory Palestine. 11 minutes later, Harry Truman recognized the country of Israel. A civil war between the Arab populations and Jewish populations began. Israel created their country based on the religion of Judaism, but they were really secular Jews who originated in Khazar, Eastern Europe. The funny thing is that truly religious Jews have a faith in God and don't care about real estate land, while the secular Zionist Jews don't care about religion even though they pretend to. They care about their country of Israel and protecting it no matter what, even though they stole the land from Palestinians in the first place. The first time I became aware of Jews fighting Arabs was in an episode of the comedy TV show All in the Family around 1974. The show had a Jewish creator Norman Lear and a Jewish actor Rob Reiner, so they portrayed it as the poor Jews being terrorized by evil Palestinians. They didn't say anything about them stealing their land in the first place. The pro-Jewish propaganda has been overwhelming until recently. The Israel-Palestine fight right now. For me, as an objective guy, it doesn't take much to realize most of the violence on planet Earth comes out of one little country with a population of 15 million people. There is only one country that has been committing violence non-stop for the past 80 years. They planted bombs in cell phones, then laughed about it when they exploded. The United Nations does nothing to stop it. They have no divine right to that land just because their holy book says so. The Torah says God gave that land to the Hebrew Semitic Jews that were there before Christ, but most modern Jews originated from Khazar, which is now Ukraine. They have no blood ties to the land. Khazar went Jewish in the year 800 CE in order to avoid clashes with the feuding Muslims and Christians. What we have now is a bunch of European Jews with no ancestral ties to the Middle East claiming an ancient ancestral right to own the land. In their schools, they teach that the God of the Torah gave them that land and the Arabs stole it. They say they took back what was rightfully theirs. The leaders of Israel are not Jewish religious leaders. They are secular elitists protecting their kingdom by any means necessary. They're the same as any corrupt group of elitists anywhere. The fighting has not stopped since 1948 because they took the land from peaceful people who were living there. The Palestinians are fighting for their ancestral land. If we did DNA tests on the Jewish people in Israel, the ancestry of many would be Eastern European, not Middle Eastern Semitic. The DNA of many Palestinians is Semitic, but it doesn't matter because power and money rule everything. There are religious Jews who say the country of Israel is not what our Jewish religion is about. People say Israel is an apartheid racist country. There is one law for Jews, another law for the lower class Palestinians. They have special roads for Jews and secondary roads for non-Jews. They don't want Jews to marry non-Jews. A way to solve the problem is to create a new country with a new name where everyone is equal. Israel has a huge political action committee, AIPAC, American Israel Public Affairs Committee in the United States, that gets loads of weapons and support from the American government. The Zionist conspiracy is about a few secular Jews trying to take over the world. Henry Ford wrote The International Jew in 1920. Benjamin Harrison Friedman, October 4, 1890 to May 1984, was probably the first mainstream anti-Jew in the modern age. He was born a Jew, saw it was an evil mafia and made phonograph records to record his thoughts on the subject. You can find his speeches at Rumble, BitChute, and maybe YouTube. Many anti-Zionists are at the websites renzi.com and rumble.com. They are Jeff Renz, David Duke, Henry Machau, and Brother Nathaniel. You can find others by looking at the articles and videos Jeff posts up. They think the Jews are in a big conspiracy to take over the world because it says so in the Talmud. There is supposed to be a great calamity in the future where the Jewish Messiah comes back. The Golem or Goy, which are Christian folk, get swallowed up, whereupon the Jews take over. Each of them gets 2,800 of us as their slaves. That's what some Zionists think. I saw a video at renzi.com with several whacked out delusional rabbis on it thinking they were the bomb, that humanity, meaning the Goy, work for them. In truth, they're just several overweight ugly rabbis with nothing go for them, so they think they're part of some big divine plan. The Jews think they're the chosen people because of the Torah, which are the first 5 books of the Bible. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Numbers. The Talmud was written around the same time as the Quran. It's the same type of book, a couple of delusional rabbis writing crap to try to control the people. There is some pretty hateful stuff in there about non-Jews, but the average Jew barely reads it. I listened to the book of Joshua in a YouTube audiobook. God is telling these people to sacrifice animals to him, then he tells them to cross the Jordan River and kill everybody there at Jericho. Any decent modern person knows this stuff is the rantings of ancient idiots. The Jews are as messed up as any other group of people. Jeffrey Epstein was probably a Mossad agent, but he was also a sex fiend trying to get laid. All this conspiracy stuff goes back to TV shows like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, are a bunch of sleazy scoundrels trying to buy off American politicians. They want free weapons from America and America to back them up against those dirty Muslims. The Zionist European Jews had offers to create a homeland in Russia, Argentina, South Africa, etc. They chose to go in the middle of 100 million Arab Muslims, their enemies. How stupid can you be? The world is getting tired of them with their whining. Their only real ally is America. Once the patriotic Americans say they're tired of Jews with dual citizenship infiltrating the American government, they got nobody in the world. There are barely 15 to 17 million of them. A lot of them are gay. A lot of them are cavorting with the Goy. Nobody cares about a few nerdy rabbis with their idiotic holy books. They're like your weird uncle. Do whatever you want in your corner, but stay out of my face. I think that fake monetary system that the Jews supposedly created through the Rothschild banking system should be smashed, but that's another story which I cover elsewhere in this book. Zionist websites. Benjamin H. Friedman speech 1961, rumble.com. Benjamin Freeman speaks. iamthewitness.com/Friedman1974 speech.html. U.S. presidents as Zionist pawns. iamthewitness.com/Friedman-Jewish-pawns.html. RealJewNews.com. Jews against Zionism. Ankusa.org. Leo Zagami. Renzi.com/general74/satanic.htm. SaveTHMalls.ca, HenryMachau.com. JewishTribalReview.org. Conclusion. To me, Judaism is a story no different than the earlier Epic of Gilgamesh written by the Sumerians. The Star of David has nothing to do with King David from the Bible. It was just a general symbol that the World Congress of Jews took on in 1897. It's no different than that pro hockey team, the Danbury Trashers, who took on the name because their owner owned a garbage company. The Vikings had their goods like Odin and Thor. Now in the modern world, their Scandinavian descendants don't care about that foolishness. We have people living in the modern world subscribing to ancient stories as though they're real. They're too stupid to realize they're brainwashed fools. Brother Nathaniel at RealJewNews.com said he was born into the cult of Judaism. They tried to steal his natural joy for life, so he left them. As a teenager, they wouldn't let him sing Christmas carols because they're Christian and he was a Jew. His father wouldn't let him read a Bible, so he read it. I found at least 5 websites dedicated to Jewish news which are propaganda directed at the Jewish myth of special people. As long as people can't see that they're individuals, a part of the entire human race, they will be doomed to think they're better than anyone not part of their fake group. Stupid religions are no different than the Masons, a bunch of old men who think they're special because they do some stupid rituals and have secret hand signs. They're fighting over a Temple Mount in Jerusalem which has a mosque on it, but the Jews say it's the site of Solomon's ancient temple and want to rebuild it. I say blow it up and make it a park in order to get rid of these archaic myths.